Yeah. Oh yeah, there's still people coming. It's good. Yeah. All right. Well, good evening, everybody. There's a few more coming here, but welcome to Autumnal Equinox 2025. Joe Stickler is making me do this. So, say hi, Joe.
Hi. Welcome to Medicine Wheel Park. Let the ceremony begin.
Anyway, so tonight, as you know, is an auspicious occasion because, well, it's one of the 2 times of the year that's both daylight and dark are 12 hours equal. Equinox. And it's both halfway between the winter solstice and the summer solstice. And so with this, we celebrate at the Medicine Wheel. We've done this in years past. Some years it's been a little colder than this, and this is darn near perfect, I think. And so, but we are honored to have Mr. Ricky White. Mr. Ricky White, I have to read from my notes, I apologize, but he is Anishinaabe. There, I said it earlier myself, I scrambled it up. But anyway, Whitefish Bay. And with the Fargo school system, he comes out and he speaks. He comes highly recommended to us from the STEM teacher down there, Jamie Worth. And so he's been out here a couple times, and I didn't know it. We've missed, and so finally we've got together, and he's here alive in person. And yes, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the First Nations people, and well, we welcome you. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Well, I get a little nervous when you start to get introduced, and I'm glad it was a nice, short and sweet version. You guys hear me okay there? You know, we were going to do this kind of funky little speaker system, but I think I've always been told my voice carries a little bit, and I'll take a couple of steps towards you all. I'm going to just start by saying this. I'm honored to be on this land that we're on right now. There's a lot of sacredness about where we are. There's some burial mounds that are in this area that have been around for hundreds, thousands of years. And it's no kind of surprise that it's in an area where the view is, miles. You can see quite distances. Millions and millions of miles away with the sun set there. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But I just wanted to say to you all how honored I am to be here. And the honor is as a result of an invitation, a sacred invitation to come via these 2 gentlemen and just share. I'm not going to say that I know everything. That's something that we, our tribal or our native people, we don't say it that way. So I'll speak in the language, and it'll come crystal clear when you hear these words. This language that I'm about to share with you is a language that was on this land for thousands of years. Thousands and thousands of years. So the terms equinox or solstice, even the sun, we have terms that predate any of those terms. We have symbols that kind of are the exact same, but our terms predate any of these words that we use here today. Some of you and all of you speak this language, this beautiful English language. Even this language is only about 500 years old. It's a very young language that we're speaking here. And the language that I'm going to share with you is thousands of years old. So I'll introduce myself and talk a little more about what we're going to experience here. This little journey will go on till midnight. So any of you young ones, I'm just kidding. It'll be at least till dark. So. Aha, bonjour. Niigonanakud. Niigonanakud, digo. Pizhew, nindo dem. Niigonanakud, Anishinaabe. Da. Wasuga. Niigochiwa and Dumpoanogum. Bagi Pui Jamigoan. tabatsi mittuan, wagi niin, kagi kwek kendeman. Ja, anong wagi this west uge, ja wabanong, pawanong, iwait nong, wano uge nagabi wanong, sinak kumagok, ibagok kinagok, tabatsi bikok, wano Whitefish kiget, but the watch mittuan in them, ja, kenin. Kagi we namagoan, yeah, she took choice at that long. Kig any guy go on. So, how many of you understood? Right? You know, my partner and I, she's also from Turtle Mountain, and when I speak that language everywhere I go, right here in North Dakota, there's actually only one guy that I know that speaks the language that I can speak to all day long. Yet that language has been here for thousands of years. It's almost gone. Kind of a sad thing, which is another reason why it's important to have these type of gatherings, to hear that language, to hear the foundation of how we speak to each other. And what I said in the language is I introduced myself to you all. The way that I'm known by the sun, the way that I'm known by the grass, the rocks, the wind, the trees, the four-legged, the crawlers, the winged, everything. Those that swim in the water, everything. I'm known by Niigonanakud. That's how I'm known. And as our ways of life would happen, folks, we also organized our way in a way of teaching. And it's founded right here. See what I lit here is some sage. Sage is a medicine that our people would use as a way of cleansing. So we're just kind of resetting our mind. And I'm actually standing in the direction to where sage would be most common. It's this southern direction of this medicine wheel. You see this layer of rocks here that we see this way. This layer of rocks here and this entire area that you all are sitting in. This is our south direction. And the foundation of our medicine of sage is actually built for this kind of time of where we are right now. It helps with our emotions. It's our emotional realm. It's the realm of that age of, let's just say, 12 to 20 years old as well, this growing age where we learned about dealing with our emotions, our ways. And sage was one of those medicines that we would use to kind of help calm our minds, give ourselves a reset. And what I said in the language is I want to reset my eyes to see good things here tonight, to hear good words, to tell you that I come with a good heart, a clear mind. And of course, I think in the midst of all of that, I also kind of smudge the area. And the perforation of the smoke is one that is intended to kind of reach you. And even if it doesn't reach you, it's here in essence. So this southern realm that you're in here is part of this medicine wheel. This is a very powerful teaching part of our way of life. So if you can imagine, for thousands of years, this is how we would teach. Very simple, this concept of how we're divided here in this quadrant of, let's just say, the south here right now. As I move to this next quadrant, we're going to be seeing it here shortly. You see this formation and that formation. This quadrant grows naturally here to the west. And in the west, we symbolize this area of what we would call our physical health, our emotional health, our physical health. We want to balance with all of these things. But it also was that area of darkness, that area of nighttime. We're getting to that point here very shortly, where there's also some balance and some acknowledgement of this timeline, of this equinox. But we would also acknowledge this part of our world. A lot of times at night, there's a lot of medicine, a lot of growth, a lot of things that happen. And this would be like our adult life. We think of this as our teenage, 12 to 17, 20 realm. We hear into our adult realm, our 20 to 60 year age. As we move to this one here, the Great White North, as we would say. A lot of times the medicine in this realm would be our sweetgrass. But it's also the realm of our elder, our 60 plus realm. Very sacred time as well, where wisdom would be one of those cast things, our mental thing, the things that we want to share, the things we want to leave, the, how would we say, energies of just absolutely wanting to share as much as we can of good with those that we want to pass it down to. So again, with that realm is acknowledged right here in this medicine wheel. And as we go back this way, this is our eastern realm. This is where that sun rises, and this morning it rose perfectly right here in this, equinox here, where it's an equilibrium of time. 12 hours of sun, 12 hours of night. Right here in this realm, this eastern realm, this would be our childhood realm. When you think of those stages of life that I just shared with you. This is at 0 to 12 or so, let's just say. It's our awakening. It's the giving of life. A lot of times what would happen at this time of the, let's just say the calendar, this would be our awakening. And tobacco is our medicine. I loved seeing a sign walking here where it said this is a tobacco-free place. You see, folks, tobacco is one of our contributions as well. And tobacco is the medicine of our East. It's our ignition of everything. You see, we didn't intend people to roll it up into cigarettes and put it in vapes and smoke it that way. We use tobacco in two primary ways, an offering or an ask. We offered tobacco, giving thanks, and that's what I offered for us here today. It's in this beautiful bowl. And I offered in honor of our fall equinox here that we're going to witness here shortly. It's an offering of giving thanks. It's an offering of just welcoming any of these teachings, however brief they are, in the time that we have here together. There's things that were shared with you, and that's part of that offering that's inside that tobacco. But as we look at it here, folks, this is that realm of that medicine wheel, the eastern realm. It's the beginning of everything. And oftentimes, the only times that we really smoke it, well, let's go to that ask. Offering. Just how I shared it with you, just an offering. Or an ask, where Wes or Joe, if you ever need any assistance, let's just say if it's from a native person, next time, have a little tobacco, a little loose tobacco, and say, you could have did it this way. Ricky, I want to offer you some tobacco. Can you come and speak to us about this? You see, that's the beauty of that teaching right there. So that's the way we use tobacco, one of those two ways, either an offering or an ask. We never smoked it. Well, I should say we never. But all of us would use tobacco here. We'd use it 1,000 times. We may never smoke it. This morning, I guarantee you, our sacred pipe carriers were smoking it this morning. They were smoking tobacco in honor of this time of the year. Right here, honor of this time of the year when that sun would rise. It's perfection. It is absolute perfection the way that this season is. Because within all of this medicine wheel, we talk about balance. The other thing that is a significant teaching, and you see there's 28. This medicine wheel is actually a significance in terms of the lunar lifespan of all of us. That each one of these rows signifies a day that is in between each of the lunar cycles that happen. You see, for generations and generations, the way that our time was generated, folks, is we utilized our grandmother full moons as our way of guiding us in what we were going to do. You see, for our calendar, it's not, and I know Wes and I had a conversation about this, what does September even really mean? Well, in Latin, he told me, and I found this out, that September is the 7th moon, right? Is that right?
Seventh month, yeah.
To some degree. But I still don't know what they actually mean. You see, for our native people, we named each of those full moons according to what was going on in the world with Mother Earth. So this last full moon that we just had, literally, folks, this last full moon that we just had, this full moon that just showed herself about 2 weeks ago, we called her Wate Bagagi, this changing of the leaves moon. What was going on in the world a couple of weeks ago? What are we seeing and witnessing? What are these leaves that are happening here? You see, what we believe is that there is communication that is happening there. It's not just with us, the two-legged. There's communication happening to everything. The trees have been communicated with, that they need a change now. The bears are going to start making their way into hibernation. It's like their ignition. What are the birds going to start doing? They're going to start flying south. Everything is receiving communication from those grandmother moons. So in a couple of weeks, we're going to see her again. We're right in between her right now. In a couple of weeks, we're going to see that grandmother moon appear again. For our people, Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, we called her Benak, Wegi. This is what happens to the leaves. They fall to the ground. And that is this significant harvest that is coming right here, right now at this time. It's signified to our people that when the leaves change color, we had better be ready. All these other harvests, every moon talked about a harvest that we would be doing, from strawberries to blueberries to wild rice to maple sugar to everything that we would also be doing. If this was our community thousands of years ago, every one of you, including the kids, you'd know how to use a knife by the time you were 3, and you'd use it properly. You'd know what to do, survival, everything, living together, working together. We would have already all been harvesting for months. When we got to this point to where the leaves are changing color, I talked to my friend, my physics guy, where's our mathematician guy here? Where's our guy?
Joe?
Oh, right here, yeah, my man. He talked about, how he, had families that would move to their winter encampment. And that's exactly what, if this was our tribe, we would now be signified with those leaves changing color. It's time to start moving to our winter camp. All of us would go together. And we'd have all of the sustenance of every season that taught us. Right? Every season leading up to this point, every harvest, every moon would signify that. And those changing of the leaves, that would ignite us to go and move into start moving into our winter encampment. We would have had the wood already there. We'd have our lodges already there and ready to be moved into. And the way that they would be layered, folks, our elders would be very close to the center. Our young families would be very close to the center. We want to make sure we take good care of them. So this is literally like what our homesteads would be like here in this beautiful circle. Okay? We want to make sure everybody was taken care of. But think about when those leaves hit the ground. Right about here, when that grandmother moon appears and the leaves hit the ground, that actually signifies one of the, I would say, robust harvests. We call it our hunting moon. It's our hunting and harvest moon. We don't listen to the DNR and say, hey, it's hunting season right now, deer hunting season, here you go. We wait for grandmother moon to tell all of us. The four-legged know this, and that's really our biggest harvest as we go after the four-legged and the animals. But by then, in this moon, we're already hunting. We're already scouting. We're already looking ahead. That would be your role within some of you, within this community of ours. You'd have a role. Some of you would go out and scout. And this is a little deep, but within our tribes, we have 7 clans typically within our tribes. The same amount of stars that are in that little dipper. The same grandfather teachings of behavior that are in that little dipper. 7 is a big number for this. Just like 4. 4, sacred number. 7 is also a big one. But for me and my people, I introduced myself to you all with my clan as well. I'm Lynx Clan. And part of the role of the Lynx Clan, let's say that all of us over here were Lynx Clanners. We'd be the ones going and checking out the harvest, checking the deer, where the deer are, where the moose are, where the buffalo are, so that when it's time for all of us to go on our hunt, we'd all know where to go. We'd all get this. Like it was your heavy for everybody. Hey? I don't know what kind of system we call that. Is that socialist? I don't know what it is. You know, we won't get political here tonight. But that's exactly how this thing happens. The ground, if you see that grandmother moon, you're going to see the leaves will hit the ground. The moon after that, folks, as we kind of keep moving along, the moon after that, we call her Gashkat Nogisis, and again, 28 days in between each 13 lunar cycle. 28 days, so 364 days or so, right? You know, in between each of these lunar cycles. So 28 days from the leaves hitting the ground, Benakwagisis, you have Gashkat Nogisis. That's the one, guys. That's the one we all know. That's freezing moon. So if we had not listened to the falling of the leaves moon, the changing of the leaves moon, right? And before that, our wild rice harvesting moon, our strawberry moon, our blueberry moon, our midsummer moon, right? You know, and then the maple syrup gathering moon, right? You know, in that spring. If we didn't start listening and functioning, just like what she's communicating with all of us as two-legged, by the time we got to Gashkat Nogisis, we'd all be dead. We would not have survived any winters. So part of our introduction, folks, it even acknowledges that. We all live up here in this neck of the woods. We know what winter is. It's 7 months, 8 months of rough go. We didn't have thermostats on our wigwams, on our earth homes. So we needed to live with harmony and balance with this world that we call this land. And so what we would end up doing, folks, is we would have this survival mode of understanding and living in harmony and balance with all of these, let's just say, lunar cycle, with the directions and everything that is guiding happening right now. It's almost literally perfect lineup right here. Dagwagan, we call it. Dagwagan is what we call fall. We're hitting it here in just a few minutes, getting to that point to when that sun sets. It's perfect line here. And our people, think of it, living here for thousands of years. Those were our guides. They were our guides as well. We look at these beings. We call that sun Kimisho Miskizis. It's our grandfather orb. We call the moons Kihuka Misanan Jesus. That's our grandmother orb, our grandmother circle. So they also guide us. So, Medicine Wheel, east. We have the south. We have the west. We have the north. Everything in balance right here in the center. And I'm standing here, which would be sun center, you know. You haven't been to this place. It's mimicked after a kind of a very similar scale to one that's down there in Little Bighorn, Wyoming. Cheyenne, I believe, is the tribe down there. And they have a similar structure, very similar, thousands of years old. I don't know how old that thing is out there, but it's been around a long, long time. Eh? What'd you say, Joe?
Long time.
Long time.
There's nothing to date it by, so.
Yeah. And see, my friend was asking me, you know, was like, so how long ago, Ricky, did this knowledge that I just shared with you, what time, what would be a date on that? And see, for Native people, time. We would just say, we'd say it was like your Star Wars thing, like a galaxy far, far away. We would just say it was a time long time ago, right? When none of us are here. But what we're saying is that this knowledge is still alive based on how we are all sharing it here today. This would have been a very similar kind of narration. It likely would have been done over weeks though. This tonight, very abbreviated. This would have been done likely over the course of a week, maybe even two, way back when, knowing that this was coming. It wouldn't be as abbreviated as now. And it would happen every year. So the young people, you would get the same teaching every year, right? You know, not all day, every day, but for, let's just say, an hour or two a night, you would hear from elders. You would hear from the people sharing this balanced way of life here tonight. So imagine that, doing that every year, right? For time in memoriam, you would realize that this knowledge is right here, this guide of this medicine wheel with the sun in the middle. And I don't know if you're familiar, but as you look at the planets here, every foot is like 3 million miles, you know? So you got Mercury, right? You know, you have Mars, you have Earth, and so forth, right? You know, everything is within balance in here. And this is there in a field in Wyoming. We knew, right? How did we know? It's right here, right? We saw, we lived with it for our entirety. The other thing, folks, that you're going to see, and you see the telescopes there, are all of the constellations that are in the sky. We hear them as the Little Dipper, we hear them as the Big Dipper. They're very prominent right here. Those two were guides in the midst of our balance, especially those dippers. Those dippers really showed us the kind of things that we would be doing in our harvest. They too fit perfectly within each of our medicine wheel. There's basically 4 seasons that happen there, right? If you think of spring, summer, fall, and winter, the way that those dippers also kind of are flipped sideways, whatever have you, upright, is also in direct accordance. So our people would just simply look and they would be guided by those big dippers, because as we know, Big Dipper and Little Dipper, those constellations also guided a functional way of life for us, okay? They were a sacred guide to the types of harvesting, the type of season, the type of things that we would do as Native people. So you can see this is really, I'm sweating because I'm trying to fit as much as I can before sunset, so you guys can all see it here in a few minutes. But all of this would be an entirety. And what I said in the language, folks, is and I know very little of our native ways of life, you know. And I don't own anything. I don't own any of this knowledge. And the rationale for that is our elders speak that way as well. And the the rationale for that is that we're all meant to share. As we think about we're all in this realm here, this elder realm, this north realm here on that medicine wheel. We think of the child, we think of that young adult, that youth, we think of the adult, right? That's 60 and up. We all get to this point where we want to share as much as we know, as much of the good that we know, so that this thing that we call life and world and everything in here starts to make sense a little bit. And so this is all blended in this academic world, this academic knowledge that we all kind of are exposed to, the sun, the stars, the different equinox that happens, the solstices that happen. We have that academic knowledge, this, let's just say, modern science, which modern you can just say a few hundred years old, but it's right here as well. The other thing, and I'll end with this here as we get to this final part here, is as we get to our constellations, we also name those. You know, the Big Dipper, we actually call that Ojibwe. It's the name of our, it's the fisher, that weasel. You see, the fisher, that's the only animal that can actually kill a porcupine, that fisher. Very stealth, very, quite a sacred animal. So that Big Dipper, there's a legend and story on why that Ojig is part of our constellation. They also call it Pizhew, the big mama bear, protector of all of our people. So multiple names for those same ones. The little guy, we call her Niigonanakud, which is the loon constellation. And again, the loon, if you ever see a loon, the perfection of it, the head and everything, you can see her up there. But if you ever look at the back of a loon, the entire constellation is stamped on the loon's back. All of the stars, everything is on the loon. And as I spoke about the lunar, check out a turtle someday. Just check it out. 13 moons on turtle's back. 13 moons on turtle's back, folks. You see, on a turtle, any turtle. I was out with my partner and our girl here out in the lake, and I found a baby snapping turtle, maybe about that big around. Had it in my hand, and I counted 13 large shells. You see, our people, we use the turtle as our symbol of truth for that reason, because date and time itself is stamped on turtle's back. You'll find 13 large shells. You go in the ocean, see turtles wherever, 13 large shells on turtle's back in honor of the 13 full moons that I just briefly described to you. On the outside of that turtle, got them right here in lines, 28 smaller shells in honor of the 28 days in between each lunar cycle. Okay? So we had Watebagagizis that happened here, changing of the leaves moon. As she gets over here, Benakwegizis, 28 days will have happened in between that lunar cycle. So folks, circling back, deeply honored to have been here to share with you just a little bit of this. Some people call it ancient knowledge. To me, ancient means it's in the past and it's not functioning. For us, what we call these is just tabatsumoin. They're just teachings. They're just teachings, as we call them. The other one that happens, by the way, when it gets to that freezing moon, Orion's belt appears upright. And if we all know Orion, he's the hunter, right? Orion's the hunter in that constellation. For us, that guy, his name, we called him way before Orion. I'm telling you that much. Niigonanakud on Nangung. That's our hunter, Niigonanakud. And so there's something in our teachings where we share Niigonanakud stories, those winter stories on Niigonanakud as he appears with Orion's belt fully upright. We share Niigonanakud stories only during the winter months. You might hear that somewhere, that, we don't only speak about those creation stories and our trickster stories when there's snow on the ground. That's the reason why, because his constellation is fully upright and he's hunting. He's hunting throughout those winter months. He goes and takes a little rest. All of this right here. And I'm reading from a script, by the way. You know, it's just here in my head. It's in my head based on, you know, I'm really glad that Wes and Joe invited me to come here, because it got me thinking of my upbringing when I was just like you guys, sitting on the ground and listening to my elders talk about all of these beautiful things in harmony. balance. They constantly say, and I often wondered, oh Jesus, say it. They just would come back and say balance. Everything in harmony. Perfection. This is why we use that medicine wheel. Balance. 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 Everything right there. Okay? And so the 4 realms, just to kind of finalize with that, with the medicine wheel, we call it our spiritual realm, our awakening realm is east. We call it our emotional realm. We need that emotional balance as well. We call it our physical realm. For our adulthood, constantly working on making sure we have a good, healthy life. That's the biggest one. And of course, our mental health, our mental awareness, the things that we think about. Okay? Spiritual, I think that's one that we kind of miss out a lot. If you think about it here today, even in today's landscape, I feel like we're in kind of a spiritual crisis. We're losing that one a little bit. We kind of need more balance in that realm. We do pretty well with the emotional, our feelings, our physical, and our mental. But I feel like we really need a lot more awakening over this way. And I also think it's more than, if there's any doctors here, I believe in medical science. It's more than a pill. All of these things, there's more action that is also needed, as we think about some of this. So I'm going to finish with a song. Are we almost there? Joe, how are we doing?
Continue.
Continue.
Let's hear your song.
He says, continue. Sing him a song.
Yep.
So if you think about this,
Right there.
thousands of years ago, folks, right to this day, I guarantee you there are native peoples. Unfortunately, some of this has also been disrupted over time. If you were to ask me, Ricky, does every native home, function this way or know these ways? I'd say maybe 1 out of 10. So we've had a big disruption to our ways of life, our identity, and our knowledge, our ancestral sacred knowledge. But days like this is good for us. We can awaken it from that. And so what I guarantee you, though, is that there is some spiritual balancing that happens. And part of what we do with that is we sing, we pray, we say good thoughts, we share teachings in honor of these moments that we're about to witness here. So the song that I'm going to sing for you today is actually a song that is in honor of our medicine wheel teachings. The 4 directions, they're going to be said within this song. I'll be honest with you, when I sing songs in this kind of way, people always ask me or wonder, what are we supposed to do, right? You're going to sing an honor song here, Ricky. Do we stand? Do we sit? Do we bow? What do we do? I'm just going to guide you. If you're seated, just stay seated. I joke with my partner here that I went to a Catholic wedding, I'll say recently, and I haven't knelt and stood so much in my entire life. It was my 3rd time at a church, but I just followed along with everybody, and then got the teachings later on what it was, and it was a beautiful, beautiful wedding, especially hearing from that guy in the front. The things that priest shared in that spiritual realm with everybody that witnessed. Beautiful words. So just sit back and hear the song that, again, if you were to date stamp this song, I couldn't even tell you, right? So here it is. So kanimong ye na konige men wabanang shawanongaya ye na konige men nagabe wanong iwendanongaya ye na konanan ho ho get you one wabanang shawanongaya ye na konige men nagabe wanong iwendanongaya ye na konanan ho to get you one. Good. So with that, I guess I'll just kind of stand in recess. Any wonderings? I like to say wonderings. Questions, concerns. What do we do now? Joe?
Well, we thank you for coming here and delivering us such a great talk.
Yeah.
And it just emphasizes the message I give often. Every culture that has survived this earth has a calendar of some sort.
Probably similar to this one. Right?
You know, so, and I would like us to thank our guest speaker tonight with the usual traditional that some of you are familiar with, except there's a change. So be prepared for the change, because this last week I had the North Dakota Native Tourism Alliance come up here, and they suggested a little difference to the Indians, which I immediately saw the value in. So, is everyone ready? I feel. Wait a minute, I'm going to start again. Everyone has to be. I think everyone should stand up.
Stand up.
I feel connected to Mother Earth. I feel connected to Father Sky. I feel connected to the universe. Yatahe.
Yatae. That's Dene for.
Hadish Manina. Ayo Anishna. Ogone. And I would add that David DeMuth will have the telescope set up over here so we can view a few objects, especially as it gets dark. So those of you that want to stay for that, fine. Those of you that would like to come into the wheel and greet our speaker and feel the sage blessing that we've had, come in and join him and speak with him.
All right.
Thank you.
Did you guys see it at least? Come on over. You'll see the perfection here of that sunset coming right in here.